Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So it's time of the league to re-roll a new character, and as you may already have heard, there is a new leveling setup in town. The Spectral Wolf NV setup that everyone is talking about. And as the title says, I like to share my experience leveling this build as a Pathfinder and also just share the pros and cons of this leveling setup. So you can decide if you want to level this way or if you want to choose a different method. Now, as a disclaimer, my opinion on this leveling tech is strictly based off a twink setup, meaning that I am most definitely not comparing this setup to a league start scenario. So in other words, you definitely need currency to level this way, and I'm more comparing this to the twink standards like the hollow palm leveling and so forth. So just want to lay it out there. Now I think it's definitely a fun new alternate leveling strategy if you are bored of hollow palm or if you just want to try something new. This is definitely something that I would recommend, but there are some caveats to it. So first of all, this build is, or this leveling tech is extremely strong from acts, most likely acts 1 to 3. It can stretch out to act 4, but I think that's when you'll start noticing the build will start falling off a little. And then it starts requiring some upgrades that I'll talk about and so forth. In terms of what character you're leveling or which side of the tree you're on, I think that you would definitely want to level this as a poison build or as a minion build. And by minion build, I mean that you want to invest in a lot of minion nodes like minion damage, minion attack, cast speed, and so forth. I think that will allow you to take advantage of not just your wolf's damage, but also your own skill damage. So in this example here, I am leveling a Viper Strike of Mamba Pathfinder. So I'm poison based, and therefore my tree is already invested in a lot of poison nodes, etc. So as I mentioned earlier, the build or the setup, it starts struggling after Act 5 or 6. That is when you start noticing the damage is falling off, and also your survivability is starting to be a little iffy as well. And the reason for that is because we are a ranger, we don't really have a lot of armor or evasion nodes early on. Just armor mainly. We don't get a lot of life as well. So as opposed to like hollow palm, you are freezing everything, you are one tapping mobs all the way to act 10. This build doesn't really do that, as you can see here. In fact, we are struggling a little bit in some of the fights in the later acts. So one of the main things that I did was I upgraded my weapons around level 48, and I'll show it at the end of the video as well. I think that helps a little in terms of not using your level 1 weapons and getting a little more attack speed on them. That is quite important. Also, because we are not one-shotting mobs like hollow palm, we need to actually start kiting around the bosses or the mobs, and also start investing in some defenses. So capping your resistances is super important. That means if you have to ditch your 7 league step for a rare pair of boots, you might have to do that. And also make sure to run like a granite flask or a jade flask to get those armor and evasion up. But yeah, I think I've seen a few league start characters that are playing like slam builds and all. They're dealing more damage than this build. So I think this is, again, it's great for the early acts, but if I had to do it all over again, I would probably do it hollow palm instead. So far that has still been the gold standard of twink leveling, in my opinion. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the leveling progression here. I'm just showcasing mainly the boss kills, and as you can see, we are in the we're in Act 6 right now, and we are still dealing respectable damage, but in a lot of scenarios like these here, you'll see that I take a big chunk of damage, and a lot of times it's It almost kills me, but I believe we ended the campaign on about 6 death total, and a lot of it is in the later acts because I realized that my defenses are lacking. So here you can see the damage starts falling off, and it takes a long time to kill this, and it's not even an act boss. But yeah, at the end of the video I will show you the upgrade progression that I made. I'll also include a POE link in the description showing you the items as well. So let me know if you have any comments, and enjoy the rest of the video. Alright, so just to go over the gear really quick here. So these are the early leveling gears that we started with. 2 basic sword with the Summon Spectral Wolf and the Envy. And these are basically what you buy from level 1. And then I upgraded to these weapons here at level 48, I believe. Yeah, 48. So I think that is the point where I felt like my damage was lacking a little. So that was when I bought these new swords, and I threw on a Screaming Essence of Zeal, which is the attack speed essence right here. That's level 48. So just to get a little attack speed on your weapon, all the other stats don't really matter too much. And then just make sure you craft on your Spectral Wolf and your Envy as well. And then for my Spectral Wolf, I'm running Minion Speed, Withering Touch, which is probably not ideal. I think added Chaos might be better. And then Chance to Poison. And the other things worth mentioning is a Honor Home that I'm running with a Socketed Skill Gem gets 90% Reservation Multiplier. This allows me to run a Purity of Elements along with a Herald of Agony with a level 3 Enlighten. You have to also grab mana reservation wheel here with the 12%, and then I grab the charisma wheel over here, and that's it. So that will allow you to run Purity of Elements, which I think is very important because it caps your resistances. As you can tell, I just completed all the acts and I'm a little under, but also more importantly, it grants you ailment immunity for the early leveling, which is very helpful. For the amulet here, if initially I had Graceful Assault, which is the one that grants you Onslaught, but eventually I switched over to Spiritual Aid, which is this node right here. Increases and reductions to minion damage also affects you because I am grabbing the large cluster jewel here. It's a 12 passive that grants minion damage. So I think this is helpful early on to give your wolves extra damage. And also I'm running a medium cluster here with Lead by Example. This means that when you War Cry, you gain Onslaught for 4 seconds, and we are running General Cry with Auto Exertion. This tech allows you to have Perma Onslaught up at all times. And let's see, the other things worth mentioning is I got an Embalmer with Curse with Despair. This is not essential, but I just needed an upgrade from my early glove, so I figure I got this. I don't think that's too important. String of Servitude with skill effect duration is super it's a good quality of life for your wolves to ensure that they stay up a lot longer. And finally, the Hateful Accuser, which grants Penance Mark, which solves your single target against a lot of the bosses that you saw earlier. I think this is one of the key pieces to have. And lastly, the boots, I decided to switch it out just because my defenses were really lacking towards the later acts. As you can see here, I have a total of 6 death total, and a lot of them are towards the later acts because I felt like this build's defenses are really lacking towards the end. So, but yeah, that's about it. Hopefully this helps you out. I'll include a POB link in the description below as well, as along with the leveling path that I took. So let me know your thoughts. Bye.